Straight to the camera. Right, hello there everybody. As you can see, I've got myself set up for Christmas because I'm going to start my Christmas videos today. I've got some really poor viewing figures from my Halloween specials, but I did get a couple of nice comments from some new subscribers, so thank you very much for that. When I was reading the Canterville Ghost, so I thought I need to do something different, because when I got my last Christmas, then I did my last Christmas videos in November. I got about 63. I got quite a few viewings for that. So and again, my apologies for this video being so late. I didn't realise that writing down all oh, my apologies. The programmes that we were watching in 1990, 91 and 92 was going to take me so long. So my apologies for that. Also I've had some very nice comments on TikTok about my Christmas tree. But I also had some very disparaging comments as well. How does this look like a heroine? Oh, for goodness sake. Do you know what? Stuff all those people. Stuff them. So coming up on today's show, we've got Christmas telly. What we were watching Christmas telly in 1990, 91, 92. And I've also got some Secret Santa gift ideas. So, starting off with some nice mugs that I got from Poundland. And there's not a Boris Johnson toilet paper in sight anywhere. So yes, I got this all from Poundland. For those who are probably watching in America, Poundland is a shop, like a little cheap shop. Well, not everything is a pound, but most is a pound. So yeah, this is a little genius at work. You've got a nice pair of socks in there as well. You also got this one as well, and a nice pair of socks in there as well. Yeah. So yeah, and then I also got these games as well. Battle in the Deep. It's a bit like Battleship. You just put in like little boats and things, and I haven't actually never played Battleship, so yeah, I got that, and I got this little basketball game. Yeah, these only cost me like a couple of quid, 2 or 3 quid. And Mr. Lister's quiz shootout, crazy lists, wild guesses, time to shine quiz challenge, 120 brand new quizzes, 14 plus age, 3 to 20 players. So what you've got to do is that you've got to you'll be asked a bunch of questions, and you've got to guess the answers. Like there's one here: the 10 most first words spoken by baby. List them: cat, no, ball, mama, dada, bye, dog, nana, baba, hi. Silly things like that, really. So yes, and again, my apologies for this being so late. As I said, it took me quite a while to find the listings and to get the listings right written out. And so yeah, also I've got all my Christmas stuff on. So yeah, right, the Christmas telly. Yes, this took me quite a while. So in 1990, on BBC One, on Monday the 24th of December, Christmas Eve, we were watching, oh by the way, I've also included Boxing Day on this. 7 AM, BBC One started with regional news and weather. That was followed by, at 7:15, by Children's BBC with Touchy Turtle. Whizbit was at 7:20. The New Adventures of Mighty Mouse was at 7:45. That was followed by the news at 8 AM. Fireman Sam at 8:15. St Nicholas and the Children at 8:35. That again was followed by the proper news at 9 o'clock. Then at 9:05, the Chipmunks. At 9:35, Charlie's Quiz Christmas Project. Quick Draw McGraw at 9:55. Playdays at 10:05. 10:25, Barney. That was followed by a film called The Slipper and the Rose at 10:35. The news was at 12:55. Then you had Neighbours on at 1:15. Who remembers Neighbours in the old days, proper days? Oh, I used to love that. Then you had The Italian Job. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off at at 1:15. No, at 1:40. Then that was followed by Children's BBC with Buried Treasure at 3:15. That was followed by Blue Peter at 3:20. Then the film Masters of the Universe, the He-Man film, with Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella as over-the-top Skeletor at 10 to 4. Then at 5:35 was Neighbours. The News was followed as was at 6. Wogan in Hollywood at 6:30. Then you had the Paul Daniels Magic Show at 7:10. All Creatures Great and Small with Peter Davison was at 8 o'clock. 21:30 News and Weather. The film Blind Date with Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger. To be fair, I have never actually seen this film, so I can never comment on how good it actually is. But dear old Bruce Willis, you know, you've got to feel sorry for him. He's done such wonderful films, and now he's got a little bit of dementia, and yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good. Then that was followed with Christmas with the Gulf. That was a midnight mass sort of thing, with all the troops in and their families in the Gulf, and it was live streamed. Live streamed. Then you had the series with Gary Cole, Midnight Caller. Then at 1:10, the weather, and then BBC One closed down at 1:15. On Christmas Day, you had Children's BBC was at 7 a.m. with Whizbit. Paul Daniels Show. Who remembers that? Whizbit. Play days at 7:30. The Jingle Bell Rap was at 7:50. Then at 8:10, the Looney Bugs Bunny movie. I think I've got that somewhere. It's quite a good fun. Who remembers the Looney Tunes with Bugs Bunny and all that? Shout for Joy was at 9:30. Noel's Christmas Presents. Now, for those of you who don't know, who've never watched Noel Edmonds or any of that stuff, there was like people who just couldn't afford to fulfill their dreams, a bit like another similar show, and people wrote in and Noel Edmonds fulfilled their dreams. That was like another particular show that Stephen Coogan did a series about. So yeah. Then at 11:30 you had Christmas Comedy Crackers, which had Hello Hello, The Two Ronnies and Dad's Army. That was at 11:30, 12:05 and 12:55. Then at 1:30 you had Top of the Pops. EastEnders was at 2:30. The Queen, God bless her, was at 3 o'clock. And then you had the premiere of E.T. the Extraterrestrial in 1990. Who remembers that? That is the film that made me cry and having a mash full of potato when I first saw that. Why did he have to die? Why did he go home? Oh, I was only 7, you know. Anyway. Then you had the News and Weather at 5 o'clock. Only Fools and Horses at 5:10. Bruce Forsyth Christmas Generation Game was at 6:20. Bread was at 7:30. Birds of a Feather at 8:20. The News was at 21:35. 21:40 was Baby Boom. I think that was 9:45 actually. Then you had Yes Minister at 11:30. The Christmas Presents was at 12:30. Then that was followed by a film at 12:35 called The Quiller Memorandum. Then at 2:20 was Weather, and then at 2:25 we had a close down. Boxing Day. Now, I've never done Boxing Day. When I did the 80s, I never did Boxing Day. That was last year. But I thought I'd include it this year because I wanted to do something entirely different. Something that, you know, just to do something different. At 7 a.m, you had Children's BBC. That was Whizbit again. The Nightingale was at 7:25. Play Days at 7:50. The Island of Never Was was at 8:10. The film The Man Called Flintstone was at 9. World Cup 90 was at 10:30. A film to the series Are You Being Served was on at 11:30. The Good Life at 1 o'clock. The News was at 1:30. The Poseidon Adventure was at 1:35. Disney Time was at 1:30. Well, it was at 3:30 actually. Jim will fix it for Christmas. We don't talk about him. At 5 to 5, final score. News and weather at 5:10. The Russ Abbott Christmas show was at 5:30. Then you had back to the. Oh no, that was 25. Sorry, my writing is so terrible. At 5:25 was the Russ Abbott's Christmas show. Then at 6:05, you had Back to the Future. At that time, BBC, because they got the rights to E.T. to be the first one to premiere E.T. They started showing a season of Steven Spielberg films at that time, and that was at 1990. And they had Poltergeist. They had Steven Spielberg's first film, Duel, about the truck. I never saw that film before, but I saw it last year and I absolutely loved it. Bergerac special at 8 o'clock. 20 to 10 was Smith and Jones. That was followed by the news at 10:10. Poltergeist 2 at 10:25. Toto Live in Paris was at 11:55. That was followed at 10 to 1 in the morning, the weather, and at 5 to 1, BBC closed down. I've actually got the 1990 TV Times here. That was before Radio Times and TV Times all just went into one, and they had all the listings of BBC One and ITV. That was before this. So here we go. This just had the listings for ITV and Channel 4. So yeah, here we go. Yes, 5:10 a.m. you had Christmas Comes to Pac-Land. That's the Pac-Man computer game. They did a cartoon of it, and so yeah. At 5:40 was cartoon time. The news was at 5 to 6 in the morning. That was followed by TVAM Good Morning Britain at 6 till 9:25. 9:25 Disney cartoons. 10 o'clock The New Adventures of He-Man. That was when Mattel, when He-Man had gone really right out, and they tried to reinvent He-Man and by putting him into space and that sort of thing. And I had a couple of the toys, but unfortunately they didn't really work. And they did a cartoon which I think only lasted for one season. At 11:45 was Disney cartoon. 12 noon was Christmas Eve with Dana. 12:25 Home and Away. 12:55 the Thames News. ITN News at 1. 1:20 Disney cartoon. 1:30 A Very Brady Christmas. 3:15 new ITN News headlines. Then that was followed by the news headlines at 20 past 3. 3:25 to 3:55 Families. Never seen that one before. Then at 3:55, another person who we don't talk about, Rolf Harris meets Bugs and Friends in Hollywood. 5:10 was Blockbusters. The news was at 5:40. Home and Away was at 6 o'clock. 6:30 was the Thames News. 7 o'clock Wish You Were Here. 7:30 Coronation Street. 7:30 was Coronation Street. 8 o'clock Des O'Connor Tonight. A Ruth Rendell mystery movie putting on by Cunning. 9 o'clock. 11 o'clock was the news. 11:15 After Henry. 11:45 Midnight Mass, Christmas Eve. It's 12:40 Christmas Eve at the movies, Grandview USA. Then at 2:30 to 4:30 Christmas Eve at the movies, The Electric Horseman. At 4:40 on Christmas Day was A Christmas Carol. 5:55 was ITN Morning News. Then that was followed at 6 a.m. to 9:25. TVAM Good Morning Britain, but they had the news bulletin at 6. Then they had Cartoon Carnival, including the adventures of Parsley, Little Misses, Grimbles, Portland Bill, and many more. Then you had the news bulletin and Top Banana Special, Thought for Christmas, Cliff Richard Christmas Day Special, and 9 o'clock Alvin and the Chipmunks. 9:25 was Cartoon at Christmas. 9:50 was Telephone Thanks to You. 10:45 Find a Family Update. 11 o'clock Christmas Family Communion. Then that was followed by the 12 o'clock by the Disney Club Christmas special. 1 o'clock Ron Lucas special, Who's in Charge Here. 2 to 3, Torval and Dean, the Russian All-Stars. The Queen was followed up by 3. Then you had the James Bond film, Moonraker. 5:25, you had ITN News. Strike It Lucky was at 5:30. Ken Dodd at the London Palladium was at 6:15. Coronation Street at 7:30. Movie premiere 8 o'clock. The starring Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop 2. French Fields at 10 o'clock. 10:45, ITN News. Christmas Night at the Movie, What's Up Doc with Barbara Streisand. 12:50, Night at the Christmas Night at the Movies, Murder Me, Murder You. Never heard that one before. Christmas Night at the Movie, that was at 12:50. At 12:40, you had Night at the Movies, Feel the Motion. And 4:35, Sounds Like Christmas. Boxing Day. 5:35, Cartoon Time. 5:55, ITN Morning News. 6 a.m. 9:25 to 6 a.m. to 9:25, TVAM Good Morning Britain. 9:25, Christmas Duckula. 9:50, Christmas Teabags Christmas Ding Dong. Daffy Duck was at 10:20. The Disney Christmas premiere was Candle Show. 12:25 was ITN News. Then followed at 12:30 was the Christmas Disney premiere of Return to Oz. At 2:30 to 3:30 was Beatrix Potter, The Tale of Little Piggy Robinson. 3:30 was the film Laura Doone. 5:15, the news. 5:30 was Krypton Factor Special. 6 o'clock, Christmas Cluedo. 6:45 was This Is Your Life. 7:30, Coronation Street. The movie premiere of Dirty Dancing. I was somewhere else watching something else. I like La Bamba, don't get me wrong. I loved La Bamba, but I was never a keen fan of Patrick Swayze. The only thing I actually liked him in was, if any of you out there remember, the series North and South, which tells about the American Civil War and how these two friends met and both were on North and South. And it's actually, if anyone ever gets a chance to see that, it's a very good series. 9:50, The Bill. 10:20, ITN News. Then that was followed by at 10:30 by Police Academy 2, their first assignment. 12:10 was Boxing Night, Return of the Seven. That was a movie. And at 2 o'clock was Nights. Was it Robbery Under Arms. Then at 4 to 4:30 was American Top 10. So that was 1990. That was actually not a bad year. That was the year Margaret Thatcher was ousted by her own government, and she departed. 1991 was not a good year. My mum was diagnosed with cancer then, and it was not a very good year all around, to be honest. But will Christmas telly be good? Sorry, I don't know why I did that. But will Christmas telly be good? Sorry about that. BBC One Christmas Eve, Tuesday the 24th of December 1991. That month in December, I remember that I was off for that whole month in December because we had our mock exams, because the following year we had our proper exams at GCSEs. And unfortunately, my mum passed away in 1992. So, 18 months my mum struggled with her cancer, and it was not a great time, to be honest. So here we go. But will Christmas telly be good in 1991? Let's have a look. And BBC One on Christmas Eve was on a Tuesday. Was at 7 a.m. was the news. This is on BBC One. But first, this was Mycroft. This was a CBBC thing. 7:30 was the Little Crooked Christmas Tree. That was followed by the news at 8 a.m. The Jingle Bell Rap was at 8:35. News was at 9. 9:05, Defenders of the Earth. 9:25, Mozart is alive and well and living in Milton Keynes. Was at 9:25. Play Days at 10:05. 10:25, Barney. At 10:30, that was at 10:25. 10:30 was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. 12:55 was regional news. Then that was followed by the normal news. Then Neighbours at 1:15. At 1:40 in the afternoon, Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. At 3:10 in the afternoon was Tom and Jerry. That was followed by the film Scrooged with Bill Murray and Karen Allen, and that was directed by Richard Donner. That was kind of an updated version of the Scrooge story, which is actually very funny, and Bill Murray is just, yeah. Tinsel Tunes at 4:50. At 5:35 Neighbours. That was followed at 6 o'clock by the news. Then that was followed by the new regional news. Then at 6:30 was Big Break. Who remembers that? A snooker game with Jim Davison and Tony Virgo. Pot as many balls as you can. At 7 o'clock was EastEnders. 7:30 was Only Fools and Horses. That was part of a two-parter, Miami Twice, where Del in the second part gets mistaken for a mafia gangster or something. At 8:20 was Hello Hello. News was at 9:05. The film with Kevin Costner, No Way Out, was on at 9:30. Midnight Eucharist was at 11:20. The Italian Job was at 12:30. News was at 2:05. And then 2:10, BBC One closed down on Christmas Day. BBC started off, but first this was at 6:55 with Pingu, the little plastic penguin, if anyone remembers that. Santa and the Tooth Fairies was at 7 a.m. Playdays at 7:35. Postman Pat was at 7:45. Yogi's First Christmas was at 8:15. Then at 10 a.m. was Christmas Gift. Noel's Christmas Presents was at 10:45. Christmas Cracker was started off with Heidi High at 11:45. The Two Ronnies at 12:30. Then Dad's Army at 1:25. Top of the Pops was at 2 o'clock. The Queen, God bless her, was at 3. 3:10 was Only Fools and Horses, the second part of that special. Bruce Forsyth's Generation Game was at 4:40. The news at 10 to 6. Then they had the first I remember this. The BBC actually had the rights to show the ever Batman the movie made in 1989. And normally it takes about 3 years to make a film, but that's like 5 when they had the rights to show it. I think it was about a year after the film came out. Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. I don't know if anyone remembers that. At 8 o'clock was Birds of a Feather. By the way, that Batman is the best Batman ever. Michael Keaton is in The Flash, the Flash movie, which I know didn't do really well at the box office. But the only great thing about that one was Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, because he is Batman. At 10 to 8 was Keeping Up Appearances. That was followed by the news at 9:20. Coming to America was at 9:30. I've not ever seen the sequel of that film, to be honest. And Sickness and Health was at 11:20. Just What I Always Wanted was at 10 to midnight. The Likely Lads was at 5 to midnight. Then that was followed by The Weather at 1:25. And then 1:30 closed down. That's when BBC One did close down. BBC One on Boxing Day. I always look forward to Boxing Day. I must do. I'm going to hopefully maybe do describe what is Boxing Day amongst the other Christmas specials that I'll be doing this month. So what I'm hoping to do is, if anyone doesn't mind, and hopefully I might get some good views on this, and then maybe I'll come back in January, is that I thought I'll do my Christmas videos now and my Doctor Who videos now, because things haven't quite worked out how I thought they would work out, and then take a break from all of this like for December, and then come back in January with maybe some more ideas and stuff. So hopefully, fingers crossed. BBC One Boxing Day was on a Thursday, 26th of December 1991. But first this, The Woman Who Raised a Bear as Her Son for Christmas. Playdays was at 7:25. Dot and the Koala was at 7:45. 8:55, A Muppet Christmas Carol. Oh no, that's not. No, sorry, no. That was A Muppet Family Christmas. That was at 8:55. Sorry, my apologies. 9:45, Aliens First Christmas. 10 past 10 was at the Flintstones. Then that was followed at 11 a.m. by Grease. I had a real thing for Olivia Newton-John. I think most people did, didn't they? 12:45 was cartoons. News, that was followed by the news at 1 o'clock. A Jetson Christmas Carol was at 1:05. Neighbours was at 1:30. An American Tale was at 1:50. Bigfoot and the Hendersons was at 15:10. Final score at 4:55. That was followed by the news at 10 past 5. Telly Addicts was at 5:20. Neighbours at 5:50. Antiques Roadshow Going Live was at 18:15. That was followed by EastEnders at 7. 7:30 was Bergerac. News was at 20 past 1. A Fish Called Wanda was at 21:35. The film Carry On Loving was at 23:15. Then you had the weather at 1:15 midnight, and then 10 to 1 in the morning was Closed Down, and that was 1991 on BBC One. Over on ITV. TVAM First Report was at 6 a.m. Then you had Good Morning Britain at 7 a.m. This was Christmas Eve on 1991. Whackaday at 8:15. 9:25 The New Adventures of He-Man. 9:50 News. That Darn Cat was at 5 to 10. Boy from Bethlehem at 12 o'clock. News and Weather was at half past 12. Regional News was at 1 p.m. Home and Away at 10 past 1. 1:40 Give Us a Clue. Richard Burton's Christmas Story was at 10 past 4. Then that was followed by the news. Then at 3:20 The Empire Strikes Back. That was followed by the news at 20 to 6 in the evening. Home and Away at 6 o'clock. Regional News at 6:25. Christmas Eve at Emmerdale was at 7 o'clock. The Bill was at 7:30. Boone Christmas Special was at 8:30. Then you had, that was the news at 10 o'clock. No. The news was at 9. Jimmy's was at 21 past 20. No, sorry, I'm getting so muddled up here. Boone Christmas Special was at 8:30. The news was at 10 o'clock. Jimmy's was at 20 past 10. Sorry about this. I've got my times all muddled up. I do apologise. Yes. French Fields was at 10 past 10. Midnight Mass at 23:35. Midnight Crossing was at 12:30 in the morning. Shout at the Devil at 2:15. And Mr. Horatio's Nibbles was at 4:45. At 6 a.m. on Christmas Day on ITV was 6 a.m. was TVAM. Cartoon Carnival was started it all off. Colonda Light Christmas was at 6:30. The 12 Gifts was at 7 a.m. Alvin and the Chipmunks was at 7:30. Mr. Men was at 7:45. 8 a.m. The Greatest Adventure Stories from the Bible. The Osmonds was 8:30. 9:25 was Morning Service live from Belfast. Cartoons were at 20 past 10. The Roald Dahl cartoon adaptation of the BFG was at 10:30. At 12:15 was Christmas on Children's Ward. Brown Bear's Wedding was at 12:45. The premiere of Pinocchio, the Walt Disney's Pinocchio, was at 10 past 1. You had Coronation Street at 10 to 3. Then they stopped that and had the Queen message at 3 o'clock. Then Coronation Street continued at 3:15. Then that was followed by the James Bond films For Your Eyes Only at 3:35. At 5:55 was This Is Your Life. The news was at 8:25. Watching was at 6:30. Coronation Street again was at 6:30. Then at 8 o'clock that was followed by the film premiere of Crocodile Dundee 2. Minder was then, they had the news at 10. The news on at 10. Then at 10:15 was Minder. 11:15 was Police Academy 4. Assault and Ministering was a film at 10 to 1 in the morning. The Silver Dream Race was at 2:35. A Tale of Two Cities was at 4:40. They had cartoons at 5:35. Then at 5:55 the news. Meanwhile on Boxing Day you had TVM Cartoon Carnival, 6:30 Batman. That always makes me laugh. I got the actual Batman cartoon series. Yeah, I got the animated series, but I also got the what was it? The 60s old series with the kapow and the kapam and the holy bloody shit, Batman. We need a new script editor. No bloody shit, Sherlock. At 7 a.m. Top Banana, 8 a.m. Black Beauty, 9 a.m. was the Charming's Christmas special. Captain Z and the Z Zone was at 9:25. Teabag's Christmas Party was at 9:50. You had a cartoon at 10:20. Then that was followed at 10:30. The film The Top Island on the Top of the World. News was at 12:15. TV film Side by Side. Then that was followed by another TV film called Pirate Prince. You had Superman 2, best Superman ever, Christopher Reeve, at 4:10. Then they had to split that, and then at 5:15 was the news. Then Superman 2 continued. You had Strike It Lucky at 6:45. The Bill at 7:30. The Ruth Rendell Mystery was at 8 o'clock. 10:20 was Gremlins. Who remembers Gremlins? I would love that film. Topaz was a film that was at 12:20 in the morning. Baby Cakes was at 2:40. In Profile at 4:20. Hooverbug was at 4:50. Then at 5:55 was the news. So that was 1991. I don't think anything really bad happened. In 1992, of course, was, yeah. And of course, Thames Television closed down that year. It became a production company. The Big Breakfast started in September of 1992. Remembers that? I had a bit of a thing from one of the floor managers, I think. And so, yeah, as I say, all in all, I started college in September of that year. Yeah, I wish I hadn't, to be honest. I wish I'd given myself some proper time to really grieve properly for my mum. And, yeah, 1992 was not a good year, personally or otherwise. It was also an annus horribilis for the Queen, when I think it was Windsor Castle burned down or something, or caught fire or something that day. So, yeah, a lot of bad stuff happened in 1992. So, yeah. But we had Christmas telly. So, on BBC One on Christmas Eve, which was actually on a Thursday, 26th of December 1992, 7 a.m. news. That was followed by 7:10, children's BBC Mycroft. The Railway Dragon was at 7:25. The Foxy Christmas Story was at 10 to 8. Then at 8 a.m. was the news. Pinocchio at 8:10. That was a different version. Blood and Honey was at 8:30. Henry's Cat. Who remembers Henry's Cat? At 8:45. The news at 9. Santa and the Two Fairies, 5:09. Playdays was at 25 to 10. On Christmas Eve was at 10:30. The film Biggles was at 10:30 at 11 a.m. That was actually the last film Peter Cushing ever actually did. So yeah, it's quite poignant, that. Good Morning Britain, Good Morning with Anne and Nick, Advent Calendar was at 1:10. Oh, sorry. At 12:30 was Stay Tuned. Good Morning with Anne and Nick, Advent Calendar was on at 1:10. Then that was followed by the news, by the regional news. Then at 1:20 was the regional news. At 1:35 was Neighbours. The Land Before Time was at 1:55. That was about the little dinosaurs. Tom and Jerry was at 3 o'clock. 5:10 was Blue Peter. Santa Claus the movie was at 3:35. That was made by the same people who did Superman and Supergirl. So yeah, that was at 25 to 4. At 5:20 was Neighbours. 5:45 was the news. Regional news was at 6. You had the Paul Daniels Magic Show at 6:15. Keeping Up Appearances was at 7. EastEnders at 7:30. Sitting Pretty was at 8. Casualty was at 8:30. Then that was followed by the news at 20 past 9. Then you had the film Sea of Love at 21:45. The First Mass of Christmas at 23:35. At 25 to 1 in the morning was the film Mr. Senile and Old Late. I'm sorry, my writing is terrible. But that was followed by film. At 2:30 was the weather. And then BBC One closed down on Christmas Eve at 25 to 3. I have to admit, my writing is terrible. And this is... Blimey, this is half an hour. Bloody it. I'm really sorry about this. Really sorry. Christmas Day was the Railway Dragon. That was at 6:50. 7:15 Playdays. Beer Behind was at 7:35. Jupiter Jangle was at 7:45. Blood and Honey was at 5 to 8. Ed the Duck Megastar Trek was at 10 past 8. Santa's First Christmas was at 20 past 8. The Christmas Toy was at 8:45. 9:42 was the weather. 9:45 was followed at Star. Good Morning with Anne and Nick was at 10:10. 11:30 was El Dorado. Who remembers El Dorado? The shortest soap that ever lasted. No one liked it. They built all those sets and no one liked it at all. 12 o'clock was Christmas Comedy Cracker. That was at Heidi High, the two Ronnies. That was at 12 o'clock and 12:45. 1:35 Neighbours, Top of the Pops at 2 o'clock. The Queen was at 3. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was at 10 past 3. News and Weather was 10 past 5. Bruce Forsyth Christmas Generation Game was at 5:20. EastEnders at 6:25. Only Fools and Horses at 8:55. Birds of the Feather at 8. News was at 10 to 9. 9 o'clock was Victoria Wood All Day Breakfast. Shirley Valentine was at 10 to 10. Reflections on Christmas was at 11:35. At 1:40 was Weather, and that was closed down was at 1:45. I'm really sorry this has taken so long. I do apologise. I never expected that this would take so long. I do apologise. Boxing Day Santa? Oh, I'm going insane here. I swear I'm going insane. Boxing Day Saturday at 26th of December 1992. CBBC. Follow That Goblin was at 7 o'clock. 7:30 was Barney. Animal World was at 7:35. 7:45 Quick Draw McGraw. Peter Pan and the Pirates was at 7:50. Chuckle Vision was at 8:15. The Chipmunks at 8:35. Going Live was at 9. 10 o'clock was The Chronicles of Narnia. 11 a.m. was Annie. Can't stand that film. Cartoon Double Bill at 1 o'clock. The News was at 20 past 1. Hello Hello at 1:25. Escape to Victory was a film with Sylvester Stallone and Michael Caine at 10 past 2. I don't like films about football, but I did like that one because that was set during the Second World War. Simply the Best was at 4:45. Final Score at 5 to 6. The News at 5 past 5. Dad's Army was at 5:15. Big Break at 10 past 6. Noel's Christmas Party was at Noel's Christmas Party was at 10 to 7. Last of the Summer Wine was at 7:45. Lovejoy was at 8:15. News was at 10 to 10. When Harry Met Sally, never seen that film, was at 5 past 10. At 11 o'clock was HUD. 1:30 was The Weather. 1:35 was The Close Down. That was on BBC One. I actually miss the old days when Christmas was properly Christmas. It felt like Christmas, and you look forward to the Christmas telly. But now it's just dreadful. Over on ITV on Christmas Eve, Thursday the 24th of December. TVAM Good Morning Britain was at 6 a.m. Cartoons at 8:50. The New Adventures of He-Man was at 9:25. Regional News and Weather was at 9:50. 9:55 was the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. 11:45 was Stunt Masters. Lunchtime news at 12:30. Regional news at 10 to 12. Home and Away was at 1. Black Arrow was at 1:30. News was at 5:15. No, 3:15. Sorry. One Magic Christmas at 3:25. Home and Away was 7:10. 5:40 was the news. 6 o'clock was the regional news. 6:30 was Take Your Pick. Emmerdale at 7. The Ruth Rendell Mystery Movie was at 9:30. At 9:30 in the evening was The Bill. News was at 10. The Golden Child at 2:10. 23:50 was Midnight Service. At 1:45 in the morning was The Avatar. At 2:35 was Feel the Motion. 4:25 America's Top 10. Christmas at the Movies. 5:45 cartoons, and that was followed by the news at 5 to 6 in the morning. Then that was followed the next day, on Christmas Day, 6 a.m. TVAM with Top Banana. Thought for Christmas at 7 a.m. Mr. Men was at 7:10. The 12 Gifts was at 7:30. Klondike Christmas was at 8:10. The Charmings was at 8:15. 8:55 was Timmy Mallett's Utterly Brilliant Christmas Show. Christmas Morning Worship was at 9:25. Cartoons at 10:28. 10:35 was the premiere of Candle Show. 12:30 Nearest and Dearest. Get Some In was at 1 o'clock. Rising Damp at 1:30. Watching was at 2 o'clock. The Upper Hand was at 2:30. I suppose they were showing all these because Thames Television was closing down on New Year's Eve, dead on midnight, and Carlton took over because, if I remember rightly, all the regional areas all changed. ITVS was then turned into Meridian. TVAM or got GMTV, and Thames Television was changed into Carlton. At 5:10 was Supergirl. 5:15 was the news. Coronation Street at 5:25. Christmas Blind Date at 10 to 5. 10 to 6. Barrymore at 10 to 7. The Three Fugitives was at 10 to 8. That was followed by the news at 20 to 10. Youngblood at 10 o'clock. Combat Academy was at 12 o'clock. Brinks The Great Robbery was at 1:45. Get Stuff Christmas Special was at 3:30. Stunt Masters was at 4:20. And 5:55 was the news. And finally, Boxing Day, Saturday the 26th of December, TVAM, was Zoo Family. That was at 6 a.m. Top Banana at 6:30. The Jungles was at 7:30. Captain Planet was at 8 a.m. Captain N was at 6:30. 8:55 Timmy Mallett's Utterly Brilliant Christmas Show. That was followed at 9:25 by the Christmas Care Bears movie. Cartoon Time at 10 o'clock. No, at 10 to 11. Movies at 11 a.m. The Chart Show at 12 p.m. News at 1 p.m. Winnie the Pooh in a Day for Eeyore was at 1:10. Then the Disney premiere of Robin Hood was at 1:45. Then that was followed by another premiere, Sword in the Stone, at 5:15. News at 4:45. News and weather. Then at 5:05 was Baywatch premiere or preview. 3 o'clock 6 o'clock Beatles About. You 6:30 You Bet. 7:30 Darling Buds of May. Arthur 2 on the Rocks. The New Statesman was at 20 to 11. The news at 11 o'clock. That was followed by the film by The Godfather. Then at 1 a.m. the film The Letter. A Night in Heaven was at 2:45. That was a film. Get Stuff's Christmas Special. Stunt Masters at 2:45. At 5:40 was the cartoon. At 5:55 was the news. I am really sorry that this has taken me so long, and it is. I'm really sorry. I wasn't expecting that it was going to take me so bloody long to do all this. So I won't be offended if no one watches this all the way through. So let's get that sorted out. So anyway, thank you very, very much for watching if you do watch. I'm sorry that it's such a long one. I wasn't expecting it to be so long. This wasn't like the ones I did last year when I did the 80s. And I don't know. But anyway, thank you so very much for watching. And I hope you've stuck it through to the end. I will be doing Christmas Telly 1993 and 94 next week. Don't forget me Doctor Who specials tomorrow. I'll be doing a review of Blink and my top 10 Doctor Who crushes. Next week I'll probably do the Doctor Who review. I haven't decided what review I'm doing of, because it's Doctor number 11 I'll be doing next week. But I'll figure that out next week. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And I hope some of you have stuck it right through to the end. But I do miss the old days of Christmas Telly. And I hope you've all enjoyed this. I hope I've given you some great ideas for Christmas Telly. I'm going to try and come up with some festive facts next week. But anyway, thank you very much for watching and goodbye. 45